Let's go right now to Bill McGinley, the former cabinet secretary in the Trump White House, the Vogel Group principal right now. Bill, always good to have you. It's a game of expectations. I understand that, and you look at these kind of things closely. So it's what people expect will happen, and whether that jars ultimately from what we thought would happen, then it's all the world of difference. What do you think?
Well, I think, President Trump is primed to have a very good night in Iowa. If you look at the polling, including some of the local polling that understands the caucus process, the real battle is going to be for second. Former Ambassador Nikki Haley has had a bit of a surge lately. There's a lot of questions whether she's kind of plateaued and can actually continue to generate the sort of interest. Governor DeSantis has had a ground game in Iowa for quite a while. It doesn't appear that either one of them are going to be able to catch up to the former president in Iowa on Monday night. So I think the real battle is the race within the race, to borrow a NASCAR term. Who comes in second to be able to propel them into New Hampshire for an effort to try and use the primary process, which is much simpler and requires less commitment, to try and actually approach the numbers that the former president has right now.
Now, that could change, and that's happened in the past where big leads suddenly evaporate, and sometimes even winning the contest outright doesn't, buy you the nomination. The last three Republican winners are proof of that. They might have won Iowa, but they didn't go much further. So gauge for me the importance of Iowa to you.
Look, I think the importance of Iowa is the momentum that it builds going into New Hampshire, but also the other four early states, which would be Nevada and South Carolina. Now, the big date coming up is going to be Super Tuesday in March, and there's going to be some time for the candidates who have survived Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina and Nevada to actually go out there and make their case. Money becomes a very big issue as you approach Super Tuesday, which is why I think, a lot of people who really study this process and have been involved in it are looking not only at the fundraising numbers, the vendors and staff they've been able to hire, but also the surrogates and grassroots influencers that they've been able to sign up as being committed to the campaign. Because every one of these states is not done on a statewide basis. The campaigns are looking at these states county by county, city by city, to see how they can boost their turnout numbers.
You also want to boost the bucks that are coming in. Nikki Haley has had a very strong trend of donor support. She raised $24 million in the latest quarter. That was double what she raised in the prior quarter, which was double what she raised in the quarter before that. So the momentum and the money is following her. She's pouring a lot into ads, and especially in New Hampshire, where she appears to be narrowing the gap. If she brings it to single digits, is that a game changer? I'm talking about in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I think that that's a big win for her because of the expectations that President Trump would have overwhelming victories in each of the early states. And I think if she's able to get it down to a single-digit race, I think she's going to be able to claim some momentum going into the later states. You're so right about the money because President Trump, with all of the legal issues and the courtroom drama and all of the coverage that he gets for each of the different hearings that are happening in his various cases, you need to have that money to be able to buy the ads to try and talk directly to the voters, because President Trump is going to continue to get all that free airtime on earned media with all of the stuff that he's dealing with right now.
Bill, while I have you here, if you don't mind, you were cabinet secretary in the Trump White House, and I'm just wondering, I talked to Bill Barr, the former attorney general in the Trump White House as well, served a similar role for President Bush, but he said the president might have, if he does become president again, a devil of a time filling his cabinet because of the way he treated some of the prior cabinet members in the first term. Do you think that's true, that he will have a tough time filling a cabinet?
I think if President Trump is elected in November, I don't think he's going to have as difficult a time as some may think filling out his cabinet. And the reason is because they're really going to go for an aggressive agenda. And I think that there's going to be a lot of establishment conservative and even MAGA pretty prominent folks out there who are going to want to be part of that.
Yeah.
There were all sorts of issues, as you know, in the first term. And I think some of it was that there were some folks in the cabinet or others in the administration who didn't really share the president's vision. I think they're going to do a lot better job of vetting them this time so that when the quarterback meeting the president calls to play in the huddle, I think they're all going to go out and execute the same play.
Yeah, it depends on how they look at some of those cabinet members in the past who relieved of their duties, oftentimes by tweet. But we'll see. Bill, it's always an honor to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.